Good evening, this is ATN Global News at 9. First, the headlines. RCS denies postponement of LG election. Tribunal sacks rep member at Tigwe. FG stops 83 billion naira protest funds. Dangote rejects marketers' projection. Trump to tout economic plan. Timaya's album gets release date. Napoli makes fresh Osimhen Lukaku bid. Now to the news in detail. Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission has dismissed reports circulating on social media that it has postponed the local government council election scheduled for October 5, 2024. Contrary to the reports, RSIEC chairman, retired Justice Adolphus Anebeli, insisted that the claims are false, baseless and unfounded. In a statement signed by Anebeli, emphasized that he has not issued any statement regarding postponement of the elections and urged the public to disregard the misinformation. He reaffirms that the timetable for the local government elections remains unchanged and the election date is October 5, 2024, is firmly upheld. Analysts have stated that the sacked APC caretaker committee must acknowledge the recent judgment of the State High Court. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Open Conversation, a political analyst, Ndamzi Ekulo, advised the sacked APC committee on the need for an appeal as a legal matter of expressing their dissatisfaction.
It is a cop to give his opinion as to issues, as to what emanated from that judgment. But that will not take away the fact that it is a court of competent jurisdiction that have given that judgment. It is a final judgment that he can only appeal. At this point, him criticizing the judgment
Elucidating further, Mr. Aquilo urged the committee on the need to be law-abiding.
What emanated in the court criticizing the judge, that the judge ordinarily should have recused himself from handling the matter. At this point, all that cannot hold water. The only thing he can do now, which he is within his rights under the law, is that he should appeal the judgment.
Okay.
Yes. In his appeal.
This is coming as the caretaker committee of the Rivers State chapter of All Progressives Congress has vowed to challenge at the appeal court its sacking on Monday by a state high court. The chairman of the caretaker committee, Chief Tony Okocha, gave the indication while reacting to the judgment of the state high court. Operatives of the Delta State Police have killed a suspected kidnapper during a gun duel in a Delta community. The operation, which also led to the arrest of 3 other suspects, resulted in the recovery of an arsenal of deadly weapons. The incident occurred on August 12, 2024, when the CP Special Squad based in Ughelli embarked on an investigation with a previously apprehended suspect, Joel Ofoye. The investigation led them to the Ewu community in Ughelli South local government area in pursuit of a notorious gun runner supplying arms to the kidnapping syndicate. However, the police forced the hoodlums to flee during a gun battle. The statement added that the injured suspect was promptly taken to the general hospital in Ughelli but succumbed to his injuries while receiving treatment. A cache of weapons, including a Barata pistol with live ammunition, a pump-action shotgun with 9 cartridges, and a locally fabricated revolver was recovered from the gang. Ahead of the September 21st Edo governorship election, the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, has assured that the security agencies will defend the integrity of the policies in every lawful way. The NSA said the warning became imperative given the violent antecedents of the Samman Yahaya disclosed this on Wednesday in Abuja in an inter-agency consultative. The tribunal also declared Dennis Udenu Federal Constituency rerun election. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) declared Atigwe of the People's Democratic Party the winner of the rerun election held on February 3rd, 2024. INEC announced that the PDP's candidate polled 23,863 votes to defeat Abo, who scored 23,226 votes. Abo, who had earlier won the February 25th, 2023 election but was sacked by the appellate court, proceeded to the tribunal to challenge Atigwe's declaration. His lawyers was seconded by Yusuf Sharif and supported by the whole House through a voice vote during the plenary presided Majority Leader Yusuf Sharif, seconded by the Minority Leader Adeleye Lukman and supported by the whole House through Akiru Adebaki, read the bill for the third time, hence the clean copy of the bill before that to Governor Dapo Abiodun for his assent. In another development, a bill Ogun State Power Sector Law 2024, a bill for a law to improve electricity generation, transmission and distribution within Ogun State, establish an electricity market and key power sector bodies, enforce consumer rights and obligations, and for other connected purposes, scaled first reading as the Assembly Clerk Sakiru Adeba the title of the bill before the lawmakers. Also, the Assembly commended the State Governor for giving approval for the 100 hectares of land meant for the establishment of the naval base in the state, which in the 2024 National Appropriation Act. The Assembly gave the commendation while responding to a presentation by the member representing Ogun Waterside State Constituency, Lawal Samsidin, who lauded the efforts of the governor and the senator in the establishment of the naval base in his constituency. The Assembly posited that the project, upon takeoff, would boost security in the state. Labour Party has dissociated itself from the Secretary General of the Yoruba Social Political Group, Afenifere, Chief Olushola Ebiseni, over his claim of being the party's Ondo State candidate in the November 16 governorship election. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Obiora Ifo, issued a disclaimer and a statement he issued on behalf of the party in Abuja on Wednesday. Ifo said Dr. Ayo Olorunfemi, who emerged as the party's flag bearer in the Ondo State governorship election after its primaries held in Akure in June, remains the authentic candidate of the party in the state but lost is yet to relinquish his membership of the Department of State Security and all other security agencies to apprehend anyone impersonating or being used to fight a proxy battle for area of Ondo State. A courageous group of women took to the streets in protest, some partially unclad, to denounce the killings and kidnappings perpetrated by suspected bandits. Primarily crops, his lifeless body alongside that of his devoted hunting dog was discovered by a search party over the weekend. This brutality has forced other farmers to abandon their livelihoods, paralyzed by the fear of becoming the next victims of this torment. At the security meeting hosted by the respected traditional ruler of Oka, Olubaka of Oka Adebori Adeleye, the women, some without head coverings, passionately voiced their urgent demands for justice for fellow victims of these heinous attacks. Abigail Ojo, the spokesperson of the women, bravely recounted their harrowing experiences. Some of them had faced not only violence but also the deeply violating act of rape by the suspected headsmen while tending their farms. She implored the security agencies for immediate assistance and long-lasting solutions to the tormenting strife overwhelming their lives. In response, the traditional ruler, Mr. Adele, reassured them that the security situation is being earnestly addressed by the relevant authorities. However, I urge patience as they work towards a sustainable solution to the deepening crisis within their community. Ondo State Police Commissioner Abayomi Oladipo has warned herdsmen and youths in Oba, Eshemeri, Akoko and Aduloju camp in Akoko Southwest against killings and arson in the community. Abayomi vowed to work in Aduloju camp in the council area of the state. ATN recalls that the farmer Sunday Ayeni was gruesomely murdered by suspected herdsmen after some of them were made to pay compensation to the disease when his farm was destroyed by their herds. Tension consequently gripped the community following the murder of the farmer as other farmers abandoned their farmlands, while many other residents fled the community for fear of further attacks. Women across the community protested half naked to the palace of the traditional ruler, the Olubaka of Oka, Oba Adebori Adeleye, demanding for justice for the victim and an end to herdsmen attack in the community. Youth in community reportedly invaded by social-political influence, ethnic and tribal interference, thereby turning the protest a riot one, destroying lives and properties, even with the speech of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu calling for dialogue between the federal government and Nigeria and the angry protesters. The question now is, what pain and gain has the protest brought to Nigerians? Has the government responded positively to the demand of protesters, or the government has shunned the protests? Our Abuja correspondent Joseph Moses tells us more.
Welcome to the Atlantic Television Network Street Broadcasts. I am Joseph Moses. I will be in the street asking people to tell us what pain and gain the last protests are brought to Nigeria. Is the government responding to the protests positively, doing what the youth have asked the government to do so that Nigeria will get better? Or the government have shown the protest and the demand of the protests, thereby doing their regular activities? We will know as we begin to ask questions from Nigerians.
It's okay that they have had the protests, but I think for one, because like I've had a couple of commentators say things, especially about the speech of the president in the course of the protest, and then they kept saying, but I may be surprised that almost everybody whose comment I had lost sight of the fact that the president said less dialogue. For me, that is an attempt to address whatever it is that the president, for crying out loud, we're talking about the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He can't come and attend to the needs you are raising on the streets that you have. The civil society should then begin to see how we can organize around creating a forum for dialogue to take place. We are the government of the time, and we have goodwill with the people. That's why we are still in the power government. We must not waste that goodwill. So right now, I think it will help the government to be able to assess the needs of the populace better, get to the grassroots. And then, because of what happened due to protest too, that some of the goodies of some of their policies are not getting to the grassroots. So I'm sure they want to put a mechanism in place now to make sure whatever it is they have for the populace is getting to the people they are intended for, as against stopping midway and then being shared up. So that's the way I see us going forward. But I really think the protest is in place. I mean, it's not a bad idea. The only issue I have with the protest is the fact that it was hijacked, and then some people also want to use it as a forum to demand for a change of a constitutionally inaugurated government. That is treason. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be allowed.
I don't see the government doing much. So far, today is about maybe 2 days after the strike, after the national, the end bad governance protest. By now, if it's a proactive government, we should have seen some changes in policies some changes in policy direction, changes in his cabinet. In fact, let Nigerians even see one of those things that the youth were asking for. Personally, in my own opinion, I don't think the launching of the CNG bus, just as we have assumed yesterday, was in line of the protest. These are the promises that were made during the May 29 when the president took over. And up to now, after the subsidy removal, it's taking him about 1 year, 6 months. To me, I don't think that is proactive enough in a new generation Nigeria that we are. And to be honest with you, the government must sit up. President Tinubu and his team must sit up. What happened last few days ago is just a sign of what is going to come up next, my dear, because Nigerians are really passing through a lot. And we must give it to Nigerians that they have been resilient enough. Nigerians have tried. They have done all they could. It is no longer, it is no longer a child's play what Nigerians are passing through. And no nation passed through this kind of moment and survive it for long if nothing is done. So I expect the president to reactivate his cabinet again, his policy again, and make sure that there's a new policy directions that will really meet the yearnings of Nigerians.
And talking about the protest that has come and gone, I don't really think the protest is over because we are still hungry. People are still hungry on the streets. You know, the truth remains that Nigerians are hungry, and we have a kind of government that doesn't listen to people, because this little thing is enough for it's to send a good signal to the government that this is what is happening. But instead of us to to maximize the usage of this thing that has come, the government will try their best to see how they will politicize it and make the people look as if that the organizers of the protests, I don't think they really did a good job, because I've not seen where you give protests 1 month notice. That means they really want to negotiate. The government was not ready for that negotiation, because for them to have given that period of time for for the protest to commence means that see how they will politicize it and make the people look as if they don't know what they are doing. So I don't believe in violence, protests, but at the same time, the organizers of the protests, I don't think they really did a good job, because I've not seen where you give protests 1 month notice. That means they really want to negotiate. The government was not ready for that negotiation, because for them to have given that period of time for for the protest to commence means that
Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Jigawa State has recovered the remains of 2 men from a pond in Benin Kudu local government area of the state. The command's public relations officer, ASC Badaruddin Tijani, made this known in a statement issued on Wednesday in Duse. Tijani said the deceased, identified as Abubakar Alhaji 20 and Abubakar Abdullahi 25, drowned while crossing the pond on their way to a market in Wazar village. He had 1,834 residents in 10 local government areas. The flood, which followed days of relentless rainfall, has submerged entire communities, leaving thousands homeless and destroying vast swathes of farmland. The Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, Aruna Mairiga, confirmed the grim statistics during a press briefing on Wednesday in Duse, the state capital. It disclosed that approximately 3,936 homes are destroyed and a total of 2,744 hectares of farmland were washed away by the flood. Many of the displaced have sought refuge in public school buildings where they face overcrowded and uncomfortable conditions. conditions. One of the victims, Hajar Musa from Gwaram local government, recounted the terrifying moment of the flooded waters inundated our house. Agency acknowledged the disruption and promised that a temporary solution would be put in place to ensure the continuity of economic activities in the region. In the wake of the disaster, the state government has urged residents to remain vigilant and adhere to safety guidelines to avoid further casualties. Authorities have also assured the public that their support will be provided to help affected families recover and rebuild their lives. Bauchi State Emergency Management Agency has confirmed the death of 4 people as the application brought before him by 6 aggrieved PDP members from Kaduna State. The judge, after hearing the arguments of the aggrieved members through the lawyer, Mr. Afis Matami, held that a request for restraining orders against the conduct of Congress could not be granted and consequently refused the request. However, the judge advised the party and INEC to take further action on the matter, given the precedency of the suit against them. The suit was instituted by 6 plaintiffs who claim to be card-carrying members of the party in Kaduna State. They are Sheikh Isa Danina, Mutari Shaibu, Yusuf Suleiman, Nura Waziri, Malam Manso Al-Hassan and Jafar Abubakar. PDP, that's PDP. The PDP Kaduna State Chapter and INEC are the first and third defendants respectively in the suit. Meanwhile, Justice Lifu has fixed August 27 for the hearing of a motion on notice for interlocutory injunction by the plaintiff. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be right back after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has withdrawn the counter-subversive bill and other related draft registrations following widespread public concern. The decision, announced in a press statement issued by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the Speaker, Musa Kreshi, on Wednesday, was said to have come after extensive consultations with various stakeholders and a careful assessment of the nation's current circumstances. Debate and raised concerns about its potential impact on civil liberties. Christie noted that the withdrawal of the bill underscores Tajuddin's pledge to never support any legislation that could potentially disrupt the peace and unity of the nation. The counter-subversive or subversion bill 2024 went viral on social media on Tuesday after it scaled through the first reading and proceeded to the second, where its general principles would be debated on July 23. It aims to impose stringent penalties on Nigerians who fail to recite the newly approved national anthem or a 5 million naira and will face 5 to 10 years in prison sentence or both. House of Representatives Committee on University Education has summoned Professor Karo Arinze Omobi, Acting Vice Chancellor of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Anambra State, over alleged poor project execution and abuse of financial regulations. Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata, Chairman of the House Committee on University Education, made the announcement after his committee's visit to Unizik in Awka. He said lawmakers are now witch hunting anyone, but they cannot fold their arms or allow issues that hinder progress in the nation's universities persist. The committee observed that the data presented in the documents submitted did not align with the reality on ground or terms of project execution. The legislators wondered how the university management could claim to have internally generated 1.5 billion naira in the preceding year, but reported spending about 3 billion naira from the same internally generated revenue. The committee stated that spending money without parliamentary appropriation is a gross violation of the Constitution and that presenting fabricated figures undermines the integrity of the entire management team of the university. Honorable Kalejaye Paul, one of the committee members, said the oversight visit is crucial due to concerns raised by many Nigerians that several MDAs would perform better if legislators responsible for fund appropriation and oversight carried out their roles as expected. Here are legislative action. One of the concerns of the 100% payment for projects and are less than 40% complete by the school management, which the committee views as against financial regulations. Analysts have reminded the federal government on its consciousness as servants of the people following reports from the nationwide peaceful protest.
And when you are a leader, you have to listen to the people. You are there to work for their interest, right? And so when the people are asking for good governance, they are not out of place. They shouldn't be labeled or given all kind of names as conspirators. Or these are Nigerians. These are the same people that you asked for your votes during a...
Meanwhile, Mr. Dema tasked the federal government to hastily and should respond to the demand and needs of its citizens amidst the looming hardship.
Blocking funds that has been money or financing of the protests from outside the country. Well, that's their responsibility to do, but they should also exercise such speed in blocking channels of corruption in the country. And they should also exercise such prompt response in ensuring that the voice of the people is heard. What are Nigerians asking for? Good governance.
Dr. Ganiat Popula is not told that Dr. Ganiat, a registrar in the Department of Ophthalmology at the National Eye Center, Kaduna, was adopted on December 27, 2023, along with her husband and nephew. While her husband was released in March, Dr. Ganiat and her nephew remain in captivity. The association also notified Nigerian Medical Association, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Labor, and the President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Health, the Chairman of the House Committee on Health, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and the Kaduna State Government. Abdullahi noted that the association has written several letters to security agencies, the federal government, and the Kaduna State Government, but has seen no significant action. The association appreciated the efforts of well-meaning Nigerians and security agencies, but urged the government to take concrete steps to rescue their colleague. Analysts have emphasized on the need for appropriate sanctions against corrupt politicians and individuals occupying public offices across the country. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Society Watch, a public affairs analyst, Chukwu Ikechukwu,
squander public fund and get away with it, people for whom fund has been.
Meanwhile, Mr. Ikechukwu decried against pilgrim subsidies, describing it as not critical issues compared to the nation's dwindling economy.
Budgeting money for pilgrim, whether it's for Hajj or going to Jerusalem or not, those are not critical issues Nigerian government should be spending on. Nigerian government should concern herself with regulations, ensuring that safety standard is observed, ensuring that rights of Nigerians are observed, rather than subsidizing religious travels and personal travels. Those are the things the individual who has decided for him.
In view, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center has commended the Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission for investigating allegations of misappropriation of 90 billion naira in Hajj subsidies. Now in business news, Port Harcourt Refining Company, a refinery under the management of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited in River State, has failed again to commence operations after about 6 postponements. That the promises made witnessed multiple failures, while in December 2023, NNPCL is in charge of all the government refineries have given Nigerians different dates, assuring citizens that the refinery will begin the sale of refined products soon. In July, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPCL, Melekari, said that the refinery would come into operation in early August 2019. He said the NNPCL would continue or would deliver all the country's 4 refineries before the end of former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. And while appearing before the Senate recently in July, Kyari boasted that by the end of the year, the country will be a net exporter of petroleum products. Later in January, Kyari said the refinery was being tested and will be ready by the end of January. And during the second month of the year, the Shell Petroleum Development Company Limited of Nigeria Limited completed the supply of 475,000 barrels of crude oil to the Port Harcourt refinery, raising the expectations of marketers that production was set to commence. This came a few weeks after NNPC said in January it was seeking to engage reputable and credible operations and maintenance companies to run the Port Harcourt refinery. NNPCL did not disclose whether or not it has secured bidders to run the refinery, while in mid-March, Kyari said the Port Harcourt refinery would commence operations in 2 weeks, and in April the deadline elapsed. While the independent petroleum marketers said the facility would begin production by the end of July. Commenting on this, NNPC's Chief Corporate Communications Officer, Soneye, said regulatory approvals from international bodies were the only impediment stalling the operational commencement of the refinery. Federal government has traced at least 83 billion naira in cryptocurrency and fake money channeled towards the recent nationwide protests. They include $50 million of cryptocurrency, $38 million of which were blocked in 4 cryptocurrency wallets, and 4 billion naira contributed to various political actors in Abuja, Kano, Kaduna, and Katsina. And this was part of the presentation by the National Security Advisor, Nuri Badu, at the inaugural meeting of the Council of State convened by President Bola Tinubu by the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. According to multiple sources with knowledge of Tuesday's proceedings, Ribadu, who presented on the topic the nationwide protest as it affects national security, also reveals that an European has been identified as the mastermind of the proliferation of foreign flags during the protest and will soon be declared wanted by the police. In his presentation, the NSA said the government was able to trace $50 million to crypto wallets that were made as donations to the protest, and they succeeded in blocking 4 of those wallets containing $38 million, and also found out that some political actors contributed 4 billion naira to fund the protest. The council comprises the president, who serves as its chairman, the vice president, all former president and heads of state, all former chief justice of Nigeria, the senate president, the speaker of the House of Representatives, the attorney general of the federation, the secretary to the government of the federation, and all state governors. Former president Goodluck Jonathan and Muhammadu Buhari Buhari attended the inaugural council meeting, while former heads of state General Yakubu Gowon retired and General Abdulsalami Abubakar retired joined virtually alongside governors of Abia, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, while former President Olusegun Obasanjo, former head of state General Ibrahim Babangida retired, did not attend the meeting. Management of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has rejected the price of the premium motor spirit popularly called petrol. The group's chief branding and communications officer Anthony Chiejina made this known in a statement while reacting to a report to the headline "Marketers project 600 naira per litre for Dangote petrol," while dealers under the aegis of Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria said they believe that the Dangote refinery will crash the price of petrol as it did with diesel. IPMAN National Vice President Aman Fashola said the $20 billion refinery would bring down the cost of fuel if it gets needed support, especially as it has to do with crude oil supply, while the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, which is the sole importer of petrol, has been selling to marketers at 570 naira per litre, but most IPMAN members buy from private depot owners at 700 naira and above. However, the Dangote refinery stated that it does not have any business deal with IPMAN and has never discussed the price of petrol with the oil marketers, and asked Nigerians and the general public to ignore the announcement, describing it as speculative. Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission says each of the 109 senators in the upper chamber receives a total of 1.06 million naira in salary and allowances per month. It clarifies this in response to recent controversies over the real amount each lawmaker earns per month, adding that each lawmaker earns 12.72 million naira in 12 months, and the federal government makes a total expenditure of 1.4 billion naira annually to all senators. The RMFC chairman Mohammed Shehu said this in a statement personally signed in Abuja, while the breakdown of their monthly earnings reveals that each senator collects a monthly salary and an allowance of 1 million naira, consisting of basic salary of 168,866, motor vehicle fueling and maintenance allowance of 126,650 naira, and the personal assistant 42,216 naira. Others include domestic staff 126,650 naira, entertainment 50,660 naira, utilities 50,660 naira, allowance 42,216 naira, house maintenance 8,443 naira, and constituency allowance of 422,166 naira. The statement also said it is instructive to note that some allowances are regular while others are non-regular. Regular allowances are paid regularly with basic salary, while non-regular allowances are paid as at when due. Shehu also said apart from the President, Vice President, Senate President and Speaker of the House of Representatives, other public and legislative officers no longer receive housing benefit. The case. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has donated the sum of 50 billion naira to support the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. The anti-graft agency disclosed this when the fund's managing director and chief executive officer Akintunde Sawyer led its management team on a courtesy visit to the FCC headquarters in Abuja, adding that the fund, an initiative of the President Bola Tinubu's led administration, was designed to provide funding for the education, but neglected that the lack of parents' educational support was a contributing factor to corruption. Olukoyede tasked the NEL Fund boss to give reports to the disbursement of the money to the FCC, while stressing his commitment to ensure the nation isn't relooted, and called on Nigerians to ensure the success of the NEL Fund initiative and that the Tinubu-led administration. Up next is international tidbits. Former President Donald Trump is set to present his economic proposals and hit out on the hardship created by the Harris-Biden administration at the North Carolina rally on Wednesday as he faces increased scrutiny from union workers. Trump has come under fire from union members for voicing support for firing workers who strike, which he brought up during a social media conversation with Tesla CEO Elon Musk earlier this week. on accusations of intimidation. The stop in Asheville, North Carolina is the second rally for Trump in 2 weeks, marking a slower pace for the former president's campaign. Trump has been on the defensive in recent days following weeks of growing momentum for a newly minted Democratic ticket after presidents trying to get their candidate back on message after several events in which the former real estate mogul focused on policy. And as support for his new opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, is growing, a new survey from the Cook Political Report shows that Ms. Harris erasing Trump's polling leads in multiple swing states. According to the publication, she posed ahead of the former president in Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. The pair are tied to Georgia, according to the poll released on Wednesday. The House live streamed conversation between Trump and Mr. Musk featured a wide array of topics, including the attempted assassination attempt against the former president, government regulations and worker strikes. Trump praised Mr. Musk for firing workers who went on strike. Police officer accused of shooting a pregnant woman in Ohio has been charged with her mother. Takia Young, 21, was around 25 weeks pregnant at the time of her death last August. Her unborn daughter also died in the police shooting. On Tuesday, a grand jury in the city of Columbus found sufficient evidence to file charges against Blendon Township police officer Connor Grubb for murder, involuntary manslaughter and assault. Bodycam video of the fatal encounter released last year showed police attempting to stop Miss Young from driving away so they could question her about alleged shoplifting. In the video, she appeared to drive towards the officer who fired fatal shots as he commanded her to exit the car. Miss Young was suspected of shoplifting alcohol from a Kroger grocery store, investigators say. Lawyer for Mr. Grubb says he fired in self-defense. Meanwhile, the local chapter of the Fraternal Order Police Labor Union on Tuesday slammed the indictment as politically motivated. And now on entertainment news. Renowned Nigerian musician Timaya has announced the release of his highly anticipated new album, Gladiator. Known for his energetic and infectious music, Timaya has been a dominant force in Nigerian music industry, and fans are eagerly anticipating the release of his latest musical offering. Gladiator promises to showcase Timaya's distinctive musical style and lyrical prowess, providing fans with an exciting and diverse collection of tracks. With his unique blend in Afrobeat, dancehall and pop influences, Timaya continues to push boundaries and captivate audiences with his music. The album is set to feature a stellar lineup of collaborations and productions from some of the industry's top talent, further adding to the anticipation surrounding its release. Gladiator is scheduled for release on Thursday, August 15, and fans can expect an unforgettable musical experience from one of Nigeria's most dynamic artists. Timaya said that the Gladiator album is more than just an album. It is a statement of resilience, strength and musical prowess. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, has paid a visit to Nigerian singer Paul Okoye and his elder brother, Accra music executive Jude. Recall that the visit comes amid the recent fallout between Paul, better known as Rude Boy, his twin brother Peter and Jude. Rude Boy recently claimed in an interview that his twin brother filed a petition with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, leading to his arrest. However, in an open letter on Monday, Peter denied the accusation, stating that his focus was on uncovering the truth behind the secret company, not Side Music, allegedly owned by their brother Jude Okoye and his wife Ifeoma. In what appeared to be a reconciliation visit, Rude Boy took to his Instagram page to express his appreciation to Peter Obi for the gesture. And now in sports. Napoli have reportedly attempted to kickstart negotiations with Chelsea to find a resolution to Victor Osimhen and Romelu Lukaku. Throughout the summer transfer window, it has been well documented that Napoli would like to sign Lukaku as a replacement for Osimhen. However, the differing valuations has added a layer of complexity to talks, with none of the respective parties seemingly prepared to budge, as well as Napoli and Chelsea having their own asking prices in mind. Osimhen and his agent have made it clear that he will not be used to initially sign for Chelsea on a season-long loan deal that has subsequently led to an impasse when Osimhen and Lukaku are now waiting for development at a time when Chelsea continues to spend money in the final third. Nevertheless, it now appears that the owners of the Todd-Boehly and Clearlake Capital to decide whether they wish to accept Napoli's efforts to resolve matters. According to Second Martino, Napoli have given Chelsea the opportunity to sign Osimhen if they meet their latest demand. In return for Osimhen making the switch to Stamford Bridge, Napoli wants to receive Lukaku as part exchange deal that would also include a fee of 45 million euros. Furthermore, the 2022 to 2023 Series Series A champions and are set to be keen on Cesare to also make the switch to Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. Casado was one of the players who was not included by Enzo Maresca for Chelsea's pre-season tour of the United States and available to transfer. Boyman FC of Republic of Ireland midfielder Simon Relly has expressed delight with the experience in the Falconets camp as the team continues preparations for the 2024 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Colombia. The 16-year-old, who was born an Irish father and a Nigerian mother, was named in the 32-player provisional list released by head coach Christopher Danjuma ahead of the World Cup. Relly further said she has no regrets turning down the Republic of Ireland's invitation. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has welcomed back Jurgen Timber to first-team training on Wednesday. Timber's return comes as a boost for the Gunners ahead of their opening Premier League fixture against Wolves. The Dutch defender signed for Arsenal last summer but missed almost the entire 2023 to 2024 campaign after suffering an anterior cruciate ligament injury on the opening day of the season. The 23-year-old returned against Everton on the final day of the season and was part of Arteta's squad for the US pre-season tour. But Timber missed the final two friendly matches of the summer against Bayer Leverkusen and Lyon due to foot injury. Timber has now been pictured back amongst his teammates in first-team training ahead of the opening game for the season at Emirates on Saturday afternoon. And that's the global news for tonight, but before we go, another look at the major stories. RSIC denies postponement of local government election. Tribunal sacks rep member at Tigwe. FG stops 83 billion naira protest funds. Dangote rejects marketers' projection. Trump Total economic plan. Timaya's album gets release date. Napoli makes fresh Osimhen Lukaku bid. I am Enidoye Jackson. Thank you for watching.